Hello, VP of the company. I have some recommendations for the information architecture of Craigslist, and I would love to share them with you. So let's get started. So currently, what do our users come to our site for? Most of the people who are coming to Craigslist are looking for e-commerce to buy and sell and to connect with people to do so. Um, Unfortunately, our biggest problem also lies in this area. There is way too much choice when trying to find something on our for sale section. There's way too many links to look through, and people will often get overwhelmed when making posts and end up putting their ads in the wrong sections so people don't see them. And yeah. Um, so a question you might ask is, why are we not looking at the information architecture of the entire site? That is something I have been looking into, but the for sale section is where most people are, and it's where most of our problems lie. So that's really what we should focus on. Some of the higher level main navigation categories, for example, jobs, community, housing, they are actually pretty well organized as opposed to for sale, which is inundated with links. Like there are over 40 labels just looking right here. So I really would like to focus in on this. So for a card sort, I did consolidate a couple of the labels from the homepage. For example, bikes and bike parts was once two links. I made it one link to sort of help the participants of the card sort get through faster and to really get down to the nitty-gritty important information. I decided also to make it an open card sort because the title of this whole category right now is for sale. It's not very descriptive, and I wanted to know how different people think about this and where they expect certain links to be, certain pages to be, without leading them in any one direction. Yeah. So here's some of the results of my card sort. I've color-coded the results so that you can see a lot of people have put in like vehicles together, home and garden together, sort of personal items together, and most of them have like an other section, that deep blue, for things that aren't, for categories that aren't very specific. So looking over all of these and what's in all of these categories that people have made, I found these are the most common categories that people created. So you have vehicles, home goods, electronics, sort of a general section, personal/apparel, business, recreation, and hobbies. So I did sort of down the list, like what was the most likely to be seen in each one. Everybody had vehicles and home goods. Most people, 4 out of 5, had some kind of electronics and some kind of general, and 3 out of 5 named their categories as like personal apparel. Business was usually its own category. Recreation and entertainment usually sort of went together thematically, and hobbies also sort of went together with leisure thematically in 3 out of 5 people. So looking at these categories and what were in them, I've created these. These are my recommended categories. So you'll notice, there's a big vehicle section. That's where most of our users are going anyway. That's where a big section of our persona is going to as well. So I feel like a lot of these are no-brainers, but there were a couple of things that people contested on. For example, baby and kids was in a lot of different categories across the different users. But mostly it made sense for a lot of people to put it in home and garden or somewhere in that personal section. So I went with home and garden. It made the most sense to me. Same thing for farm and garden. If you actually look at the content of that page, it's pretty split between like professional farming equipment and like backyard garden sort of stuff. So I wasn't sure if I wanted to split this label up in my own categories into hobby and business. But I think really that comes down to an organizational problem, users not really knowing where to put certain things. So I felt it was okay to follow most of my participants and put it in home and garden. The same thing basically happened with toys and games. Miscategorization happens a lot in this section. I noticed a lot of users put beauty and health with the sort of apparel section, which did not make the most sense to me. But it was where most people put things, and we want to be aware of this is where people are going to look probably for that beauty and health section. So we need to follow that example. Same thing for business. Most people, 3 out of 5, put business in its own category. I think the name is just so broad that a lot of people didn't really know what to do with this. And that's more on the users making listings than the users trying to find listings. So this is where I ended up with my sitemap. Of course, I didn't follow into as much of the other higher level categories. I felt they were pretty good already. I just sort of consolidated events and forums into community. That sort of made sense to me. Jobs goes with gigs. Services, you're offering your service, so a resume makes sense here. Housing is kept largely the same. It's a very well-constructed category. For sale was the biggest change, of course. Craigslist has a ton of content. So this hierarchical structure made the most sense to me. Any other way that we would do it would slow a user down. Every e-commerce site has this sort of hierarchical structure, and they do it for a reason. It's very easy. It's very intuitive to navigate, to find exactly what you're looking for. And for me specifically, this hierarchical structure makes it very easy to go into the more of the specifics behind these big top level categories into our sort of lower level categories of the vehicles, home garden, hobby. The for sale page would have all of these in its navigation, and then you would click on vehicles, for example, and then you would have cars, trucks, motorcycles, RVs as your filters on those pages. And going along with this, I think the best way to structure our main navigation would be a header navigation, possibly with some breadcrumbs. This header would be on every single page of the site. It adds some crucial structure to the site. So, if you're on the for sale section, you need to get back to the homepage. It's right there in the corner. Or if you need to jump right to jobs, it's right there. You don't need to take that extra step, less clicks. As I said before, I'm sort of consolidating some of the top level pages. This, of course, has the effect of less choice for the user, but it ends up making the user feel more free because they're not inundated with like a massive amount of choice. You just have community, jobs, services, housing, for sale, and then you feel more willing to explore into those sections. And then, of course, the sub-navigation would be within those top-level pages. And then this navigation being so tight and on every page would free up the home page for algorithms and recommendations that you commonly see on other e-commerce sites. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.